Okay, I'm ready to go. Hello, everybody. I'm just going to get rid of this little window. Okay. Thank you for joining me and for watching in. I've got this streaming on Facebook as well, so you can find it there as well. So today I wanted to talk about, I wanted to talk for you and to you, I guess, about clinic in general and all of the stuff that we struggle with. And when I was pulling cards, I have this beautiful chakra deck, and these two fell out: personal boundaries and gut instincts, and they have to do with the solar plexus. And it's interesting because when I was thinking about this webinar today, I was visualizing helping you all open up your throat chakra, but the solar plexus kept knocking at me, so I can understand now. But what I will do is we'll start with a little meditation. So I just want you to get comfortable and sit back and relax, and close your eyes and take some deep breaths. And just bring to the front of your mind your clinic. See yourself sitting in your space, sitting in a space with a client, and feel in your body what happens. Does it tense up? Does it relax? Where does it tense? And where does it relax? And just bring your attention to those tension points. What is it trying to protect you from? What are you afraid of? Because when we can find these points, we can find why we're feeling the way that we are in clinic. We can also find our blocks. And why I was thinking about the throat chakra was because it is an expression of us. It's how we express ourselves. It's how we communicate. But when I think about the solar plexus, it's about your connectivity and your seat of power within your space. And if you don't have that foundation, how can you speak? And I speak about this a lot, but we are thrown into the world of clinic without much apprenticeship at all. And and I always laugh when I say that, because it's really nothing, and we just get sent out, and it's like, go practice, work with people, heal their problems. And how do you do that with no apprenticeship? Or how do you do that with not much experience? And I know that we have prep days, and I know we have clinic and all that kind of stuff, but with someone there giving us feedback, it's a very unnatural thing. And I know that that's because, when I first started, it was a really competitive field because there weren't many successful people. And I feel like it's gotten less competitive in a way because there's so many more flooding out into the world. And so the ones who've had clinic for 20, 30 years, they have, how do you put it? Well, every time I tried to come out of my box, I got put back in my box by the people who've been there longer. And at first, I could kind of brush it off, but then it happens a few times and you realize, yes, okay, you've got something to do with that. But it has been quite competitive because it has been such a small sector of health. And that's the other thing that's changed, is that there's so many more people wanting to go to natural therapists and who are interested in natural therapies. And so the hold on that tiny community is no longer there for the older practitioners. But we're really not in a competitive space anymore. Yet it feels like that. It often feels like that, particularly when you look online and you look at social media and you're comparing yourself. And if you've done any Googling on business, now you're getting pop-ups about, and Facebook stuff about business and coaching and, reach your 6-figure practice and are you a therapist and blah, 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 blah. And it can all make you feel a little bit more inadequate, really. And if you haven't had the experience to deal with that, if you don't already have that clinic behind you to back it up and enable you to kind of switch it away, and you're in the space with no apprenticeship, it's really hard to navigate. So I completely empathise with everyone who's starting out, and that's a reason why I put the practitioner table together, was to communicate with you all. And to help you and to give you that space of, yes, please come out into the world. We love you. We want to have you. And there's plenty for everybody. There is plenty for everybody. That's the big thing. So it's not actually about the industry anymore. It's about us and how comfortable we feel in coming out into the industry. So what I want you to remember is that, you've had years of training. So you're not really starting off with square one. You feel like it, but you're really not. And if you just take a moment to breathe and to trust yourself and to step into the space of curiosity in your clinic, that's a big one as well. Stepping into that space of curiosity, that's what leaves the fears aside, and that's what helps you be with people one-on-one, and that's what helps you connect with people one-on-one. I've often mentored people who they're worried about what they're doing all the time, and that's really, really natural, but it puts a block in between you and the client, and they can be your fears and your beliefs about yourself that really are holding you back in clinic, because you've made it about you all of a sudden and not about what you're there for. And the other thing I want you to remember is that you've been called to this work. There's a reason you've been called to this work. There's a reason why you've gone through what you've gone through to get here. There's this path isn't here to put you here and then go, actually, just kidding. And so, it's also about trusting your space in it. If you could imagine what you could do, if you could trust that you were right here for a reason. You don't have to know what the reason is, but you can just do what feels good for you. And then there's the marketing side of things. This is the big one that we're going to talk about today, because marketing is a whole other ball game to therapy. And I bet that when you signed up for the course, you weren't thinking about the marketing. And it's not until you graduate that you go, oh, the marketing, shit, I have to do the marketing. And so, what do you say, what do you do, and all that kind of stuff. So here's my tips, and I've done a lot of things, and I've tried a lot of things, and I've kind of figured out what works, and I'm putting that to proof in starting up clinic for a second time. And it is so much easier this time. It is so much easier. So marketing is about what you do. It's not really about you. It's about the client. And it's about, gosh, there's so many cliched things going through my head, but I'm trying to find wording that isn't marketing related because it can turn you off straight away. I know that. If you genuinely come across with wanting to help people, then that's going to make you connect to them. And that's what our industry is about. It's connecting to people. It's not about what I do or anything like that. It's about how you feel with me. And that's been a big humbling experience for me, because you come out and you think you can do all this stuff, and then you get into clinic and like, you can feel the smile coming to my face. It's awesome because you're completely led. You have no control, really, a lot of the time in what's happening or what's coming up. You're in that space of watching, and then I call it detective work a lot of the time, because you're hearing the information and then you've got to try and figure it out. And so when you're talking to people and you're connecting with the community, it's really more about what would you like? What's going on for you? What's going on for you? If we can, I don't have a script prepared for tonight. I'm just kind of going off whim. I'm sorry, but that's the way I work. So I try and channel and get into a bit of a download of what we need for you, rather than, and again, this is it. So, what is going on for you? Oh, you probably can't even read that. What is going on for you? This is why I really sometimes don't like webinars, because you're not right there giving me feedback. But that's the question that we're asking everybody. And if you can figure that out, and if you can connect to that, then you're going to find things a lot easier. So what is going on in my local community? These are the things you need to sit down with and go, what is not the, often people say, what's the problem that you're trying to solve? That's a big one in marketing. What's the problem you're trying to solve? And so you focus on, and I've done that myself. You focus on the anxiety or the autoimmune and the learning disorders, and that's fine. And you do outline that. And you do find 2 or 3 things that you can focus on and promote a lot. But really, if you can look at your community and look around what interests you, don't think about, because that's how you're going to find what suits you and what connects to you, is what interests you, what gets you a bit fired up, what gets you questioning things. So for me, it's always been severe disabilities, and it's always been the nervous system, and it's always been, and now it's turning into more children and teenagers and the emotional challenges that they face. And so it has changed over time, and so my message has changed over time. But focusing on, well, okay, if I'm going to think about my community, what do I see people being challenged with? And why does that interest me? And why am I questioning that? And why am I passionate about that? And then talk to those people. That's all you have to do, is talk to them. And you find your way of talking to them, and you find what suits you. For some people, you're a visual person, and so focus on marketing with Instagram or pictures or Pinterest, or, hold a talk in an art gallery with a local artist or something like that. Find ways in which you're visually appealing, and find what visually appeals to you and connect those 2 things. I've found education is my thing, and I do love talking, and I love it when I talk, and I love it when I teach. I feel enlivened, I guess, when I've been doing that. It feeds me, and so the more that I do it, the the more I can connect to people. And so my thing is giving talks, and so that's what I've done. And I've set up here is I've pulled in a talk once a month, and I've just made up a subject and talked about it for an hour. It's a free talk. And like holding webinars like tonight, I'm not always perfect at it, but I love doing it, and I love to see what comes through. And the other thing I've been doing is holding little workshops, and I think that's why I got into the education side, was just starting to hold workshops. Because that interests me, and that's when I can ask the question, what's going on for you? And with other people, it's writing, and I do love writing as well. And so, blogging, newsletters, that kind of thing. Actually, now thinking about it, I started with newsletters, and I just expressed what I was connected to at that time consciously and started putting those out into newsletters. Not that regularly, just whenever I felt inclined to. And it was my way of just keeping in touch with the community. So, marketing has changed so much that everyone's being promoted to all of the time. And there's a lot of NLP stuff going on where everyone seems to care, but people know when it's genuine or not, really. And for it to be genuine, it's got to come from something you really enjoy and are really passionate about. Otherwise, it's not going to come about as genuine. And so rather than thinking too much in your head about what the right thing is, think about, okay, what interests me? What am I passionate about? What am I drawn to? What is the universe trying to alert me to? And then, okay, well, what can I communicate to these people about? And how do I communicate that? Letterbox flyers are kind of dead. You can do them, but definitely don't sit on them as your only thing. I've had people, and it's stepping outside your comfort zone and being ready to be seen. Stepping out of your own personal boundaries and trusting your gut instincts, that came through very strong. It's not so much keeping your personal boundaries, but also letting yourself step out of them. That seems to be the big thing coming through today. So I want her to go through the hay. That was the kind of feeling I got. I want her to explore the butterflies on the other side. And trust in your gut instincts. So find what, you're getting that push, just like you did to get into cleaning. You're getting that push and pull towards something. That's what's getting you fired up in your guts. And so move towards that. You don't have to do things the way that all the funnel stuff is going, all the sales funnels and all the marketing stuff. Just do it your own way, and it's going to be messy. But that is the nature of community work. If you're going to be online, it's similar, but it is a little bit different because it's a community within itself. But it's also a community full of other bombardment, and so it is harder to connect. And I find groups and messaging people or commenting on stuff really good if you're going to be on the online world. Just connecting to people online, really, and finding what sits well with you, and don't feel like you have to do it all. Don't feel like you have to do Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Figure out what you're drawn to more. And if you're a networking person, get out there and network. It is the best way to connect to people. It really is, because people become your friend a lot of the time. And that's really what it's about, because you want to be able to talk about your friends all the time. And, oh yeah, you should go see my friend. It sounds a lot more than, oh yeah, I've heard about this girl, kind of thing. And that's another reason why it's important to connect to people and to make people feel like they know you. You don't have to expose your whole life. I think Brené Brown calls that floodlighting. It's exposing too much of yourself, and that's puts people off as well. It puts all their senses in array as well. So it's also about I'm going to connect to you, and I'm going to hear your pain and I can see that there's this solution that I have. Like, I have this solution right here. Don't ignore the solution, because there is a solution to your pain, and you don't have to go through that. And find a couple of ways in which you can connect to the community genuinely from your heart. And don't worry about how many times a week you should put out a blog and all that kind of shit. Really. And again, if it's not coming from a genuine space, it's not going to work. We're not marketing a sales pitch, and doing a sales funnel into these courses. We're working with people one-on-one. We're asking them to come in, be vulnerable, open up, and talk about stuff that's just really hard to talk about a lot of the time, and embarrassing to talk about. And so they have to really trust and connect to you. And I found that when my energy is in this stressed out, panicky, what can I do phase, then everything stops. But when I'm curious and I'm researching stuff and I'm investigating things, I'm talking to people about different things, then all of a sudden all the channels start to open, because I've no longer made it about what do I do in fear-based. I've made it, I've made myself open, I guess. In one way you're closed, in one way you're open. And forget all the techniques, and just do what feels right for you. Because you have to, if you're asking them to be vulnerable, you need to be vulnerable as well. Fear's knocking at me, and fear's a big one. So we can get really, really set on fear. And I have a whole webinar about fear, but I do believe, it is a big thing with what we do. And again, because if we're in a stressed out state, we're not going to be open and receiving and allowing people who are vulnerable into our space, really. And so when you have confidence and when you're relaxed, then people feel safe to come into your space. But when you're stressed, it triggers their stress. And it's not to say don't ever be stressed. But if you can find that practice that works for you to relax all of that. When I first started, I had 7 months of turning up to clinic every Saturday with not one booking. And I started to do networking, and I started, what I did was I did my homework. So I was trying to study a little bit more. I was getting my bachelor, that's right, and I was doing my study on top of that when I first started clinic. But then I started to feel myself shutting down into that study space again. And one day I was at breaking point. I was so frustrated. I'd done letterbox drops. I'd contacted other practitioners, which is another really good thing as well, that, if you can form a connection with other practitioners. But I wasn't really connecting with them. I kind of just sent out a letter, and I've learned, again, that's not my forte. My forte is to connect and let's catch up for coffee instead of, just sending out a random letter. But I lost my shit one day and sat down, and a friend had given me this mantra, and I didn't really know what it was about, but she said it's for fear. So I sat down, closed my eyes, and went into this meditative state and with this mantra. And it was the Green Tara mantra. So Tai Tatara Tai Soha. I think that's it. I've probably done it wrong, but it was along those lines. And it was just enough to get me out of my head. And it's one of those weird stories, I always think back to it and go, wow, it's just incredible the way the universe works. I got up, and within 10 minutes I had my first booking. They called me up and they said, I've seen your website, I need to book my son in if that's okay. And I had no interest with working with kids, really. I'd kind of, started working with my principal with the kids in his clinic, but I wasn't really envisioning that for my own clinic. But that's what came through the door, and that's my journey now. Like, it's really interesting how it's happened. But I didn't envision that for myself, but I got curious about it. And then I saw his sister, and then I saw his father, and then I saw his mother, and then, it was like, it all just kind of stemmed and flowed from there. And because his problem had been worked through, I gained confidence. And then again, the more confidence. And one thing, I'm sorry, I did another talk beforehand, so my throat's a bit, but, what was I going to say? I was going to say something. One thing that it'll come back to me. It was meant to fly away. So you're meant to be here, guys. You're really meant to be here. So trust and let yourself be guided. Let yourself be guided by what interests you, what you're passionate about, what you want to talk about naturally, what you want to write about naturally, what you want to question about naturally, what you're picking up in people in the supermarket. And talk, don't be afraid to talk to them about it. A girl I used to know, she was an acupuncturist, and she said, I've gotten really comfortable with just going up to someone at the supermarket and saying, I can help with that. And that's how she got clients. And it felt, she's that kind of person. She's very gregarious and very, very friendly. And that works for her. And then I've got another client who will just comment on stuff, on Facebook a lot with just some ideas and tips and stuff like that. And I find myself doing that as well, and that's really useful for me. But trust the process and trust yourself, and just move forward in the way that feels right for you, and don't put too much pressure on doing all this other stuff. Just go step at a time, and it will grow. It will grow. And the more that you feel comfortable within yourself there, it will grow. I'm still trying to find what I lost before that train of thought, but that's okay. What else can I chat to you guys about? What else would you like to know? That's okay. If you have anything else, then you can call me and we'll figure it out. So struggling to get clients. This is a big emotional mental block, I feel. It's also being able to put yourself out in the right channels. So find what interests you, and then find how those people find people. And then contact those people or those things. And you do your thing. You talk, you communicate in pictures, you write, whatever it is that is your way, you do that. How do I explain my treatments? There we go. I forgot about that one. How do I explain my treatments? I think I recently did another little Facebook Live on this, but you don't really. You don't to people. You really, really generalize it. You come in, you talk, you dump all of the stuff, you ask a lot of questions, and then you leave. That's more like a natural, or I send you for some tests. Or you get up on the table and I move your body about, you relax a bit, and then you go on your way. Or we look at all the things that might be getting in the way. We analyze everything. You come in, you tell me everything about your life. We figure out what's not working, and we talk about getting rid of it. What about hypnotherapy? You come in, you relax, I talk a bit, you go into a deep meditation, and then you feel really brighter afterwards. Um, with homeopathy, that's an interesting one as well. It's a little, don't be afraid to say it's a little bit of magic. It's a little bit of magic, but I found it really powerful and I found it really amazing. And then you talk about the amazing stories. That's another way. When I was networking, you have a 1 minute spiel that you talk about, and talk about you and introduce yourself. And I started by talking about trying to do that clunky thing with kinesiology. What do you do? And I've got a really good thing for that now. You come in, you talk, you jump on the table, you relax. I give you a bit of a massage. We talk some more. We might do some visualizations, and then you get up and you come back another time. And coming back another time and another time is really what grows your business, because you're forming that deep relationship with people. And people need that person that they can trust, that healthcare professional that they can trust now. So don't be afraid to get them in and in again and in again and in again. Once a month, once every 6 weeks, once every 2 months, whatever it's going to be. But make sure that you keep bringing them in, because when you say don't come back again, they won't come back again. And it's like it triggers a tiny bit of shame inside if something comes up again, because they feel like they shouldn't have that anymore. So, and I know myself, I never stop therapy. And so there's always something on another level coming through. So even if they're going to see other people, make yourself open to more appointments. And I would rather someone cancel an appointment than not make an appointment. And make that very clear. So give me, make sure you cancel within 2 days. But yeah, let's make an appointment. And if you don't want it, you can cancel it. And then you're having that deep relationship with people. And then they're also so willing then to talk, and you filled up your books really quickly. People now have been seeing monthly for years, like years and years and years and years and years. And I tell this story all the time about teenagers, they can see them when they're little boys, and then they come in and they're adults nearly. They're talking to me about girls and, Emma, what do you think about this, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just so lovely to have that relationship, and for them to have that safe space where they can dump and question things. And I think that that's really useful in all modalities. Because nothing's ever stagnant. Everything goes in cycles. And for health, we're about keeping things going. We're preventative, and so make yourself preventative. Keep booking people in. You're going to find that you need a lot less new clients, and your old clients will talk for you. And I hear all the time about someone's in the soccer, the soccer mums are about, and someone goes, oh, I think I'm going to go see a kinesiologist, and one goes, oh, I see one, and it's like, oh, who do you see? I see, oh, me too. And it's really, really cool when that happens in your community, because they're all, and I see it even on the online world. Someone puts up a thing, and then someone says, oh, you should go to this person, and they're like, yes, use her, yes. And that's just so awesome to see. I just love it. And so, let yourself keep bringing people in, and don't talk about your treatments in detail. Talk about what they're going to experience in them in a really general term. What they're really asking is this as airy-fairy as I think it's going to be? And we're going, no, it's really not. You come in, you chat, you dump all these stuff. You actually get to ask all the questions that you would ask a GP, or that you want to ask a GP, or that you walk away from a GP going, oh, I should have asked that, or I wish he had mentioned that a bit more, or something like that. So explain your treatments in that world. But if you're talking to them more about maybe what they're going through, then that's going to be easier. As far as promotional material, again, there's 2 kind of people. You're an educator, or you're an inspirationalist. And I know that they're probably not not proper terminology, but you know, some people will suit flyers where they give. It's really useful to do something educational on your flyers, and not just put out information about you. So give them a reason to hold on to that flyer. So what's going on for you, and then I'm going to solve that or give you one aspect of that on here. So a little did you know, or a recipe, or a tip and a tool type of thing. If you're an acupuncturist as well, you know, did you know, this is the Chinese way of looking at that, because Chinese medicine makes so much more sense than allied health a lot of the time. You know, you're giving them a reason to hold on to that, and then it has your details on the back. If you're an inspirational kind of person, then you can also make that into your flyer and give them a reason, you know, put a quote on there, or put a picture on there, or put a heartfelt comment on there, or a little story on there, something that they can keep. So it's not just a flyer with details, and you can do that on your website as well. And look at other people's websites and see what you like and what you don't like. If you're using it from a space of curiosity rather than comparison, and you're looking at them and going, you know, what connects me to that website, or what doesn't connect me to that website, and try and figure it out. You know, that's going to help you a lot as well. And again, because you connect to it, you know, this is the energy that you're here putting out. So therefore, that's going to resonate with you, and that's going to resonate with your clients. You know, you're here for a reason. It's just about letting yourself be that vibration for your tribe, rather than feeling that pressure of being that vibration. It's the pressure that kills us, I think. Kills us professionally. There you go. I feel like I've run out. But if you have any other questions, guys, please contact me, and I'm always happy to do another webinar. And please, 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 if you're struggling, don't do it alone. You know, I do one-on-one mentoring. We look at you and where you're at, and it's, you know, part therapy as well. So we go into the belief systems, and we go into, you know, you get to sit back and relax and let me analyze everything for you, just like we do for our clients. It's the same thing. And it's intuitive guidance as well. And it's really practical stuff. I've been guided to be here doing this, and I've held back on it for a while. But I'm following it. So I know that if I'm resonating with you, then please don't hold back. Just contact me, and we can, you know, you don't have to struggle. You really don't have to struggle. But thank you for your time, guys. And please feel free to share this with whoever as well. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.